Hello and welcome. This is World Stories, and I'm Sumi Somaskanda. Thanks for joining us. We're heading to Pakistan for a report about the country's largest social welfare organization and the man who started it. Plus, cats and dogs living in the lap of luxury. We'll have that and more later in the show. But first, we start out in Singapore, a small city-state with a big reputation when it comes to fighting crime. Singapore was once described as Disneyland with the death penalty, a reference to its image of progress and innovation on the one hand, and its use of capital punishment for serious offenses like drug trafficking on the other. Opponents call it barbaric, but supporters say it's a proven deterrent. Reporter Katrina Yu from Australia's SBS has this report for us on one man's fight to escape the hangman.
Every Monday, Ka Pin Chong travels from his home in Malaysia to Singapore. He goes to visit his son, Chun Yin, who's on death row in Changi prison.
Even if it rains, I'll still come to see him. Of course I'll help my son. He's all I have.
In 2008, Chun Yin Chong was convicted of smuggling nearly 3 kilograms of heroin into Singapore. His family claims he was tricked into transporting the drugs and told he was only carrying gold bars.
He's very trusting and he likes to help people. Because of that, he was taken advantage of. I'm hoping the Singaporean government will give him a second chance.
In January 2013, Chong's prayers were answered when the Singaporean government amended the death penalty law in relation to drugs trafficking.
Move to lift the mandatory death penalty for certain offences.
Before, the death penalty was automatic for trafficking even small amounts of drugs. Under the new amendments, judges can impose a life sentence if the accused was just a drugs courier and assisted the authorities in their investigation.
These provisions retain the strong deterrent posture of our capital punishment regime while providing for a more calibrated sentencing framework.
Chong's lawyer says the charges were long overdue.
It is cruel, it is archaic, it is an abuse, it is called judicial murder, and it is also in breach of international humanitarian law.
Singapore has hanged hundreds of people, including dozens of foreigners, over the past 20 years.
Last year, 2 people were executed in Singapore because of drug-related offences. Currently, there are 28 people in Changi prison facing death row because of similar crimes.
Australian Van Nguyen was convicted of drug trafficking in 2004. During the trial, he claimed he was trying to pay off the debts of his twin brother. There was a national outcry in Australia, but Canberra's plea for clemency was rejected. A year later, the 25-year-old was hanged. Chong's lawyer believes the efforts to save Nguyen's life contributed to the changes.
It was such an impact because it taught Singaporean government the value of human life and the meaning of compassion.
But Singapore's former Attorney General says compassion has nothing to do with it. In his view, it's just a way to encourage convicted drug traffickers to talk.
There is zero tolerance amongst the population for drug offences. I haven't been able to detect any sympathy for drug traffickers.
Less than a decade ago, a survey found that 96% of all Singaporeans supported the death penalty.
We should be considering whether or not encouraging a culture of state-sponsored hanging is really the solution to violence in society.
I believe that mindsets in Singapore are changing. I believe that we can change mindsets as well, and I believe that is what we have to do.
Chun Yin's family and supporters have no intention of giving up. A petition begging for the 29-year-old's life was ignored, and in October 2012, a third and final clemency plea was dismissed. The amendments are now his last chance.
He isn't a criminal. He's a truly good kid. If you were to meet him, you'd realize he's a good, cheerful person.
Ka Pin Chong says the end of any visit to Changi prison is never easy. But he hopes, for his son's sake, that he'll be making many more journeys to this place.
Now to Pakistan, a country many in the West associate with terrorism, violence and extremism. But there's another side to this populous Asian country. As many who have spent time there will tell you, Pakistan is home to a large array of different beliefs and faiths. And it has its fair share of people who believe in charity and taking care of the less fortunate. Amsal Naeem from Black's Box Sounds takes us to Karachi, where we meet a man who founded the biggest social welfare organization in Pakistan in order to, in his words, show his fellow countrymen how to work for humanity.
People think that I'm a fakir, that I'm a mystic. Let them say that. From Siachen all the way to Nagar Pakar, there are centers all across Pakistan. They're homes for the homeless. If anyone finds a homeless person, it's their duty to take them to one of the centers. There's no race or religion, just humanity. I am Abdul Sattar Edi, and I'm from Pakistan. I like to help the sick, and I drive ambulances for them. I learned how to drive an ambulance, and then I bought one. I've never driven anything but an ambulance my entire life. I've driven one for 48 years, picking up the helpless, driving them to hospital, and taking them back home. My intention has never been to ask others for money. I wanted to teach the nation how to give. So I used to stand on the street and beg. I didn't get much money, but at least it was something. I made it a principle to live my life with simplicity. I wear simple clothes, and I focus on humanity.
He's a man who was neither educated nor had any money. But money did start coming in. Other people helped. God helped. Whatever we have today came by the grace of God.
Mr. Eddy has opened all these schools so that boys and girls can gain wisdom, and so they can impart that wisdom to their own children in the future. We give children religious education as well. We guide them in every way possible.
Who wants to go outside? Who wants ice cream? Who wants a thrashing? You want a thrashing too? These children were abandoned because they were ill and their mothers couldn't help them. There's just too much poverty in this country.
There are 375 centers, and they all have cribs in them. Just put the child in the crib. Nobody will ask any questions.
This girl was left here when she was 1 year old. She was very sick. Now she's 2.5. She still had some life left in her, so she survived. That's why we named her God's Gift.
Not a day goes by when we don't receive 8 to 10 women who have been thrown out of their homes. We still haven't given women their freedom. They're like slaves. They do all the hard work for their families. They cook and clean. But if they make the smallest of mistakes, they're beaten and thrown out. Then they feel helpless and come to us with 2 or 3 children, sometimes even 4. We never turn them away.
Some of these women have problems at home. Some have psychological problems and are brought here by their families. Some people bring their mothers, saying they don't have any space because they have their own children and only have 1 room at home.
We have different wards for various age groups, separate wards for children, separate ones for teenagers, for the elderly, and of course separate ones for the mentally disabled.
Not only this, he provides shelter, food, clothing, medicine. Even if somebody dies here, as I wish, he would provide me coffin and a grave.
I've never gone to someone and asked for charity. Whenever I need money, I go and stand on the street. Even the poorest man gives me money.
Foreign NGOs have offered donations. Edi maintains that because he's Pakistani, he will take money only from Pakistanis. If they support him and appreciate his work, he'll carry on. He says he doesn't need any foreign help.
This is Karachi Central Ambulance Control Room. It's in operation 24 hours a day. If there's an emergency, we immediately coordinate the response from here. The closest ambulance is informed by radio. The response time varies from 3 to 5 minutes.
We have a lot of poverty in our country, a lot of helplessness. The distribution of wealth is wrong. The way that people spend recklessly is wrong. In these times of poverty, a person earning 6,000 rupees a month drinks 3 cups of tea a day, smokes cigarettes, and spends hundreds. How can we expect an end to poverty? Where will change come from? Where will any wisdom come from? I highlight all these issues. Pakistan is our country, and we must not harm it in any way. There's no place like Pakistan anywhere else in the world. It's just that our political, religious, and tribal systems must change. We should become humans and work for humanity.
Thanks to Black Box Sounds in Islamabad for that report. Now, coffee or tea? If you're from Venezuela and your father comes from Italy, well, there's only one answer. We're about to meet Pietro Carbone, a man who takes his coffee very seriously. He knows how to make the perfect espresso with scientific precision. Vale TV's Robert Gomez reports.
Preparing a good coffee might seem like a simple task, but Pietro Carbone from Caracas takes it very seriously.
My passion for coffee runs in the family. It's in my DNA. I'm the son of an Italian, and I was born in Venezuela. We Venezuelans are experts in the making of and growing of coffee. But sometimes I put on my Italian cap and go to my Italian grandmother. The family tradition is a Sunday espresso. I love espresso. That's how coffee is part of my identity.
To make good coffee, you need to know your raw materials and your machine.
I have a ritual with this machine. Every morning I turn it on and feel the water run into the boiler and feel the temperature rising. It's like coffee making is an extension of myself. That's how I show my love for coffee.
Making coffee is a simple but precise art.
You take 2 charges of coffee and compact them like this. Then engage the filter holder in the machine. Now the real magic of espresso happens. That's the crema brewing. It's the true essence of espresso. Now you've got a perfect espresso with about 4 or 5 centiliters of crema.
Imagine your child seems to have difficulty learning to talk. Then you notice he or she starts to repeat what you say without actually engaging in conversation. These are just some of the symptoms that can signal the developmental disorder autism. Difficult enough if you live in Berlin or New York. But what if you live in Iraq? Where do you turn to? Rasha Maged from Al Sumaria TV shows us a center in Baghdad that's doing its best to address that problem.
Today, we're going to find out more about a condition called autism. We're visiting the Safa Care Center for Autism and Learning Difficulties here in Baghdad to learn more about autism and how those who suffer from it are cared for. Autism is a neural disorder that typically begins during the first 3 years of life. Children with autism can display a wide range of symptoms which can vary in their severity. Some manifest themselves in the way the children behave around others, in their communication, and also through repetitive behaviour. Other characteristics may show up in a child's motor skills. Shema is a nurse who looks after children with autism. Shema, we've just learnt that autism can manifest itself in different ways. For instance, some children repeat everything they hear. How do you deal with this? And how do you treat each individual case?
Every child and every case is different. It depends on their history and age. In some children, the symptoms are recognised at 3 years old, but they only come to us when they're 5. That's why we always ask the parents when they first notice the symptoms. It's sometimes around the age of 18 months or 2 years. This information is really important.
Could you introduce us to some of the children?
Salah is an orphan and has learning difficulties. He can't read or do maths well. He can count to 10, but after that he gets mixed up. He knows some of the Quran off by heart and writes a little, but only when he's in a good mood. Another child is Sijad, who doesn't talk. He speaks just a few words and only repeats words he hears from someone else. That's an extreme form of autism. This child is also called Sijad. He can communicate. He understands and talks, but it depends on his mood. Sometimes he doesn't speak at all.
Does the extent of the disorder depend on whether or not they've been treated?
Our job is to make a diagnosis as early as possible. The earlier the parents register their children with us or a similar facility, the better the care and the treatment. But sometimes we get children who are older, such as 10 or 12 years old, who can't go to the bathroom on their own. In such cases, there's not a lot we can do here.
Can you tell me your name? What's your name?
What's your name?
This child is displaying a classic symptom of autism, repeating words or phrases he hears around him. Is your name Sijad Ali?
Is your name Sijad Ali?
Many autistic children have difficulty combining words into meaningful sentences. Some can only speak single words. Others repeat the same phrases again and again, no matter what the situation. The centre hopes to help them develop their language. This is a special room for treating children with autism. We're now going to talk to Dr. Khattab to find out what kinds of cases he treats here. Hello, doctor. We can see you're just about to treat one of the children. What exactly are you doing? And what kind of treatment can you generally offer a child with such a diagnosis?
We take a more therapeutic approach. This child lacks movement, so that's why we try to get their legs moving, for example. We'll do some exercises with him.
Is this what's needed in the case of paralysis?
Yes. If they're almost paralyzed, then we have to get their limbs moving.
How does it help the child?
Exercises like this don't just help the child's limbs. It also helps their brains. It's an exercise for their brains.
How often do you do these exercises?
They have to be done every day, for at least a half an hour. Then hopefully they'll improve.
The doctors and nurses hope these simple exercises will go a long way to improving the lives of these autistic children.
And finally, this last story is for all the pet owners out there. What do you do with your furry companions when you go on vacation? For many people, the answer is to put them up in a pet hotel. And some are willing to fork out a lot of money to make sure their beloved pets get all the pampering they deserve. RT reporter Svetlana Kurakina reports on Russia's 5-star luxury hotels for almost anything on 4 legs.
Welcome to Europe's largest hotel and the most luxurious one in Russia. Only its special services are offered to special clients.
This is Diesel, one of our regular customers. He'll be staying with us while his owners are on holiday.
This is 5-star comfort for your feline friends. Located some 16 kilometers southeast of Moscow, it's one of a handful of pet hotels in and around the city called Cat's Dream Hotel. For its furry clients, it really is a dream home away from home. Luxury cabins come with heated floors in winter, toys, and even entertainment, with fish bowls for cats to look at as a way to relieve stress. And it's not just a feast for the eyes that they get here.
We offer the usual cat food, but if the owners want it, their pet can have a special menu. King prawns, chicken, turkey or rabbit. Sometimes we have people coming here who've heard about us but think it's a luxury hotel for humans and want to book a room.
The family-run hotel can accommodate up to 150 cats. It's especially busy during the winter holidays and summer months. Its staff can pick your pet up and drop it off again when you return from holiday or a business trip. To secure a place during the Christmas break, cat owners have to book during the summer.
Some owners leave detailed instructions on how their beloved pet should be treated. Sometimes it includes things like give them hugs and kisses or sing them to sleep.
Prices range from 360 rubles per day for a standard cabin to around 800 for a luxury one. Cat's Dream Hotel prides itself on being an exclusively feline territory. But what if you've got to find a place to stay for a dog? Head to the city's top facility for dog boarding. Located some 20 kilometers south of Moscow, it can house 120 dogs, and not just dogs.
People bring all sorts of animals here. Once we even had a monkey. He was very aggressive. When his cage had to be cleaned, he'd lash out at our staff. So I came up with a trick. I'd open an umbrella in front of him. He'd hide in a corner and his cage could be cleaned.
The center opened in 2001. Its leading staff members have years of experience, while all newcomers get special training to be able to handle even the moodiest animals. For 700 rubles per day, your pet will have a cabin or an open-air cage, food and vet service. At an extra cost, there's also dog obedience training. Natalia has been working here for the past 8 years. She says the key to success is love for all creatures feathered and furry.
The dogs have a very good time here. I think for them it's like going to a health resort. When they first arrive, they can get stressed out. But then they see all the other animals. They feel they're loved here and taken good care of. It's very quiet here at nights because everyone's happily sleeping away.
So next time you go away on a holiday, your beloved pet too can enjoy a 5-star break.
That's all for this week's edition of World Stories. For all of us here and our partner stations around the world, thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can head to our website at dw.de/World Stories to watch the show again. Before we go, we hope you like your greens. Check out the World Watercress Eating Championships in England in our Picks of the World. See you next time for more World Stories.